You're gonna have to do a promotion, like buy one, get one free.
What?
Buy one, get one free.
Huh?
Buy one,
Yeah, I get that.
get one free.
Is that like a Spanish word?
No, it's English. The whole thing's English.
Oh, because it seems like you're saying the first part in English and then some kind of made up a falum for something in the second part. I don't understand you.
All right, let me try explaining it another way. Let's say we're at someone else's store, and there's a sign, and it says buy one, get one free.
Get one free? Wow! What store are you talking about?
Frittata!
I seriously hope y'all didn't make the same mistake I did and actually went to school and got yourself a proper education for a good career path, because gaming is about to get a whole lot more expensive.
I have people going like, you're encouraging Nvidia to constantly raise the price. Good, I f***ing hope they double it next year. Get a f***ing job and get off of YouTube.
If it wasn't bad enough that Microsoft earlier this year announced they were raising the prices of their games to $80 and the price of their console that they can't sell at all, think about what's gonna happen when the two companies that can sell consoles decide it's time for a price hike. Nobody is excited to pay $80 for the Outer Worlds 2. And yet, in spite of that, everybody went out and bought Mario Kart World while complaining about Outer Worlds 2. Hell, here's Griffin Gaming having a horrible take.
If you think $80 games are the reason AAA gaming is in a bad spot, then you are the problem, bruh.
But I don't care, because I do fucking hate the poor, and I hate poor people, and I hate poverty, and I'm sick of lying about it.
Griffin Gaming didn't just fall off. He sank straight through the floor to the other side of the world, right into China. But before we continue with that, now that I got you locked into your seat, let me remind you, we are 400 subs away from hitting 90,000. And then I can finally be freed from this hole and dug out. You guys promised. You better be people of your word. Last time you put a blindfold over my eyes, you promised me it was a surprise, and then I somehow ended up right back in Mexico on the other side of the border wall. And the last thing I want to see is AOC fake crying on the other side of that fence again, and you guys teasing me with Taco Bell. Very funny, very funny. But we're so close. Anyway, back to Griffin. I couldn't imagine how not thinking $80 games are part of the problem. If you're raising the prices, your games need to reflect that. And unfortunately, no matter how much Griffin keeps glazing up Mario Kart World, saying it's possibly his game of the year, there ain't no way in hell he's gonna deny that game is not worth $80. But price has never been a problem for Griffin. If only you knew how much he spent to try and get laid. If you're wondering who are the type of people we can point to and blame for the current state of the industry, well, he's right there. I never understood why anybody, even people with money, defend price hikes. Because that's the type of folk responsible for how Nvidia has been pricing out consumers from graphics cards for a while now. There are those who are willing to settle on a price, and then there are those who say, stop asking questions. If game is good, Husky, do you not see I'm in the middle of something? Dig me out of this hole or leave me alone. Like I was saying, there are privileged, pudgy kids like Griffin who there isn't a single price you can set that they would have a problem with. These are the type of morons that buy the most expensive edition of video games just to have the earliest access. So if Mario Kart World is $80, Griffin will not only support the game, he'll root for the price tag too, and outright defend it like we're seeing here. And my best guess is because Griffin is really enjoying Mario Kart World, so in his head, he probably thinks $80 is no problem. And well, because of that, we got today's news. Nintendo Switch pricing update. Pricing for the original Switch family of systems and products in Canada will change based on market conditions. These include Nintendo Switch OLED model, Nintendo Switch Lite, physical and digital Nintendo Switch games, and Nintendo Switch accessories. Other Nintendo products, including Amiibo and Nintendo Switch Online memberships, will also experience price changes. Please note, this pricing does not apply to the Nintendo Switch 2 system, accessories, or software. Pricing information specific to the Canadian market will also be shared at Nintendo.com.
You could charge twice the current rate for what I provide, and your customers would pay it.
Okay, I'm confused. Price change? Please tell me that means a price drop. Tell me, Nintendo, that means a price drop. When you say price change, that could mean It goes up or down, right? I mean, that's the hopeful side of me. If they're gonna outright slash prices, it's something I'm pretty sure they would have promoted in advance. And usually when it's a price hike, well, there ain't nothing in advance to tell you. My best guess is that it is not going to be a price cut because earlier this year, Nintendo had announced that it has no plans to reduce Switch prices. As a matter of fact, the announcement outright states that there's going to be a change to prices due to market conditions. We know what that means 9 out of 10 times. In which case, if this is a price hike, what the fuck, Nintendo? The original Switch going up in price? You gotta be kidding me. That console is older than my nephew. I'm sorry, but I simply have trouble believing this is gonna be a price hike. Ain't no way. If they plan on increasing the price of the Switch 1 by August 1st, I can't wrap my head around the justification for it. It has to be a price decrease. It has to. And that's what I'm telling myself until I see otherwise, because ain't no way Nintendo would actually do something like that, right? Then again, like the rest of the world, Nintendo doesn't see Canadians as people. But I have to remind myself, this is a company that charges you more to play Breath of the Wild now than they did at its release. This is the company that charges you more for Skyward Sword than its release date. My best guess here, and this is, the most optimistic guess I could give you, is that some things will be announced to have a price decrease and others will be announced to have a price increase, but this is very region specific. It's just towards the Canadian market, which has me believing it is not going to be a price slash. Nintendo Online is in there, and you know that they will never go down on Nintendo Online fees, so that's definitely going to go up. Accessories are definitely going to go up. Game prices are definitely going to go up, but the console itself? Ain't no way they're gonna actually increase the price. This thing is 8 fucking years old. How could they justify it? If Nintendo was doing a price decrease, it would be announced globally, because I just don't see them solely slashing prices in Canada and then everybody else gets fucked over. Because if you haven't taken a look, Nintendo, and I'm sure you have, prices are not stellar in Canada. Those mofos gotta pay over $100 for Mario Kart World and $630 for the Switch 2. Yeah, I know. I thought it was just as crazy as you, but then again, Microsoft and Sony have announced price hikes on hardware that's over 5 fucking years old right now. It's not out of the realm of possibility that Canadians are about to take a brutal Canadian destroyer from Nintendo as the heel champion. What's even more gross is this is coming fresh off a brand new Switch 2 launch. Until I see the official announcement that this is a price hike, I'm not convinced. This has to be a price slash. And that's why I think they specifically say price change. Some things will go up, others will go down. As for PlayStation, however, that's not the case. For PlayStation, we outright got a price increase announcement. Sony to increase in-game prices on Brazilian PSN store. Several first and third-party games have seen a huge increase due to quote-unquote challenging market conditions.
Don't ask questions. Just consume product and then get excited for next products.
There it is. There's that phrasing again. Market conditions. If that's what it means for Sony, could it be the same fate for Nintendo? That's usually what a company will tell you. It's the market conditions. Funny, not even less than 2 months ago, you told me it was because of tariffs. Yesterday, we reported that Death Stranding 2 has undergone a price increase on PSN. However, it seems this was not an isolated case. Several games on the PlayStation Digital Store also had readjustments. The increase, which was expected only in September with the release of Ghost of Yotei, ended up coming earlier, but in general, several titles were impacted, including first-party games from Sony itself, and also productions from third-party studios. The increase was also not only for new games, but also for old titles. According to the company, the adjustment is a response to quote-unquote challenging market conditions, with the aim of compensating for exchange rate fluctuation. Games that have seen price changes: Wu Chang Fallen Feathers, The Outer Worlds 2, that's not even out yet, Silent Hill F, Ninja Gaiden 4, Lost Soul Aside, Hell Is Us, Death Stranding 2, The Last of Us Part 1, Astrobot, Demon Souls. It is also worth remembering that the readjustment is regional and so far affects only a few countries such as Brazil. Prices in dollars are unchanged, with Sony titles still costing $70. In the US, the physical versions of games were also not impacted, at least for now. This is just the beginning.
You know, a lot of people ask why. Why treat the customer this way? Why? Because fuck them, that's why.
Let's face it, Sony and Nintendo are going to do what Microsoft did. They're just taking their sweet time with it. As I've said before, you say yes to one company, you've basically said yes to all of them. Involuntarily, sure, but that's just how it works. Everybody who had a problem with Outer Worlds 2 price tag went and bought Mario Kart World, and now Outer Worlds 2 is not only going to stay at $80, but the rest of Xbox games are also gonna go up to 80. And we're not gonna see like some drastic shift in quality as a result of any of this. At the very least, in Nintendo's case, we can say it's too early to say anything, but in Sony's case, the price hikes have already begun, and I think it's gonna be all regional. Bit by bit, they're gonna announce price hikes in individual regions rather than globally to mitigate and damage control a bit, because the reception to such an announcement isn't going to be pretty. I mean, it's ridiculous enough as it is that old-ass consoles that came out in 2020 going up in price is ridiculous enough as it is, but a handheld gaming tablet from 2017 going up in price? Something that's over 8 years old? It's indefensible, because that console has been $300 for over 8 years. If it goes up, there is no excuse. It's not like Nintendo is having a hard time manufacturing these things or making money on them. And the same goes for Sony. It's not like they're having trouble selling digital games at all. If the price change that comes on August 1st for Canada turns out to be a price hike for the Switch 1, it will be the first time I have ever heard in my life that a console at the end of its life cycle is getting a price bump. Maybe some of you in the comment section will find it annoying that I'm being optimistic here and thinking price change doesn't necessarily mean an increase for all products, but I can understand why a lot of you do see it that way, because that's all we've been hearing this entire generation. It's gotten to the point that an actual price cut would be a legitimate surprise for consumers when they were the norm years ago. Hell, you could expect to see price cuts in less than 3 years, sometimes even 2 back in the day. What gives? What gives is you. No, not you, the viewers. I know a lot of you don't want to buy these things. When I say what gives is I mean the gamer. The gamer gives too much of their own goddamn money. These companies are not intimidated by consumers, which is actually quite tragic, because every move they make should be getting these companies to sweat, not feel confident that they can literally sell you fucking cardboard for $100. If it ends up that Nintendo wants you to legitimately pay more for the Switch 1 8 years later, that will be the biggest fuck you in the face of every single one of their most loyal supporters. Not that Nintendo guys will take it that way, because nothing's gonna stop them from getting their amiibos and their little Twig Boy products. It's like telling a beta male stop buying soy, or like telling Billy to stop using Gundam's credit card to pay for OnlyFans models, or like telling Alex to stop copying me. They're not gonna do it. As sad as it is to say, gamers are just under no position right now to try and negotiate any sort of pricing with these companies. There's just simply too many people out there willing to pay whatever it takes. And because of that, as a result, by 2030, I fully expect $100 games to be the norm. Until any one of these companies fails and struggles with revenue and sales, we're not going to see a change. And to think, people actually ostracize me all the time because I use Game Pass and I like it, but can you blame me? With prices like this, why would I not just simply rent something and move on with my fucking life? Especially in a market where buying is not owning anymore, or a market where something like Cyberpunk, which looks and runs better on my PC, is more expensive to play on the weakest console on the market. Pricing doesn't make any goddamn sense. But what's the point of ranting in any of this? Some days I wonder, am I just hitting record for the sake of it, knowing very well these words will fall on deaf ears? Who knows? On the road to 100K. With that being said, like, comment, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next video.
Fritongo sucks ass.